Hi friends, hi professionals, and welcome back to my channel, The Sea of Regulation. Simone here, and I'm back with a part 2 to my video. Now, I'm gonna make a separate video as it relates to DNFBPs, specifically accountants, lawyers, and notaries. If you are interested in seeing that video, definitely drop it in the comments below. But I'm going to touch on one that may be a mystery to some people. A lot of people feel that they know about this DNFBP, but when I've had conversations with just the general public and even to other regulators in other countries, they might not know as much as they think. And it is one of the areas where I have developed my expertise. So I'm going to focus on the DNFBP that are trust and corporate services providers. So before I start, let me just get my usual disclaimers out of the way. I am a financial services regulator, but I'm not a lawyer and I'm not a financial advisor. So the views on this channel are my own and do not constitute legal advice, professional advice, any advice. It's just sharing information and a discussion. It also doesn't represent any regulatory authority or international standard setting body. So with that out of the way, let's dive in. So trust and corporate services providers, pretty name, but who are they? What do they do? These are the professionals that are part of what I consider financial institutions, the whole global economy, that help to make transactions happen. They incorporate companies, they help establish trusts and other structures for their clients to engage in trade. Is it a bad thing for someone in a different country to have a company incorporated in another country, commonly referred to as an offshore financial center? No, it's not a bad thing, and there's a reason for it. Several reasons for it, actually, that the media sometimes themselves don't understand. And if you want me to delve in a bit deeper as to the role of trust and corporate services providers and the actual good that they do, drop it in the comments below. I'd definitely be happy to jump in and provide some clarity in an area that is filled with misinformation and just plain untruths. But as it relates to DNFBPs, that is designated non-financial business or profession, trust companies are global. They operate everywhere, and they're not just in offshore financial services centers. You have certain jurisdictions in the United States, Delaware comes to mind, that have service providers that do the exact same thing, but they are required by international standards published by the Financial Action Task Force to carry out customer due diligence on their clients. And in some jurisdictions, it doesn't seem as though that is widely known. Now, why is that important? First of all, when someone wants a company, you have to establish what the legitimate purpose of establishing that company is. And I'll give you a quick one that'll probably be something to clarify for a lot of people. You don't incorporate a company in a jurisdiction just because you can, or just because you're a criminal, or you want to hide something. That's not why you do it. If I'm wanting to enter into a business transaction with, say, some tech entrepreneur, and I have an idea, he has the technical knowledge, but I don't want to incorporate it in his country because he would have an advantage, and we don't necessarily want to incorporate it in my country because I might have an advantage. We look for a neutral jurisdiction where we can have that common enterprise established to work on and develop whatever it is, whatever brilliant idea we have to bring to the world and produce it under the name of this company. Now, in relation to conducts of companies, there can be disputes. Things can go wrong. And where you incorporate a company is also important because you want to be able to resolve any disputes. But I'm getting away from the CDD. So the service providers are going to receive my interest and my new best friend's interest, that tech entrepreneur, where we're going to come together to create whatever this solution is. And the service provider should carry out customer due diligence on us. Now, why? It could be because A, I'm a criminal, B, I'm a terrorist, C, I have plans to launder money, or I may be a front person. So they call them straw men, which might not be appropriate for the time, so straw person if we're going to be socially correct. But basically that I could be a front for someone else. So when you conduct customer due diligence, you have to ensure that I am who I say I am, and the new BFF that's helping me with this project, but I'm also not a criminal, that you know who I am, you know where my resources are coming from, because you can confirm that I am who I say I am, and that's called verification. But you can also look a little deeper, and it's required to actually know where I'm getting the money from. So where are my source of funds? I'm a regulator. You might have got the memo that some regulators are not paid 7 digits. We're just not. But it's important to know where the source of money is coming from. There may be a venture capitalist investing into this enterprise. You should probably investigate that too, if it's coming up front or even during the life of the company. But the assets you should be able to explain where the assets are coming from as the underlying client, and the service provider is supposed to investigate where it's coming from. And then from my audit days, there's something that we like to do, trust but verify. So you have to verify what I say to you is actually true. Now, this is getting into the minutia of conducting actual customer due diligence, but it's so very important because it's one of the things that a lot of countries feel that doesn't happen in relation to trust and corporate services providers. But I can tell you, in a lot of jurisdictions, like the ones I've been in and where I have a lot of colleagues, the due diligence factor is real. Now, it's not to say that service providers don't make mistakes. You can look at any news report or just go to Google, type in AML fine or AML enforcement action and see what comes up, because you'll see banks coming up, you'll see all kinds of things coming up in relation to regulators around the world that have taken action. If I find some, I'll put them in the description box below. But trust and corporate services providers are not to be vilified, and incorporating a company or establishing a trust, again, there's no bad reason for it. One of the pet peeves, and I'll probably dive into this a bit more, is that there's a lot of misinformation because people have not chosen to educate themselves in the space, and in some cases, people get it wrong. In other cases, there are professional enablers. And in even more cases, people don't know that they're required to carry out customer due diligence. So guys, if you found this content interesting and you want to know a bit more about trust and corporate services providers, I'd be happy to share that with you. It's one of the areas that I'm pretty good at. So I'm gonna end it here, and I'll be thinking about my next video in terms of explaining who are trust and corporate services providers and why they've gotten a bad rap and they don't deserve it. If you're interested in seeing that video, definitely drop your comments below. And until the next one, I'll see you guys.